Gaddiel. I'm fine, and you?
Good. Everything good. Very
It's
good. Very happy to be back home.
it's lovely to see you again after this time. So, what? Tell me all the great news.
So June was really busy. I was um, in in three competitions, but one was not really publicized. I was in Athens for a week for the beginning of June for a masterclass and competition. So basically, while we were doing the masterclass, the orchestra was also kind of participate. I mean, they were kind of taking part in all the decisions for who will get the prize. So basically, every day you had to kind of, I mean, you if you wanted to, if you came to kind of win the competition, so you had to show a little bit what you can do with the orchestra and etc. etc. But it was also a masterclass, so you came to learn, but also to, I mean, some of us at least, I'm sure, came to take part in the competition and hope to get the prize. So at the end, I got the first prize and I got the prize of the orchestra of that competition.
Oh,
Yeah,
congrats!
that was so.
But I mean, it must be a great honor to uh, get acknowledged by this orchestra. Then, because I
Yeah, that
mean,
was
it must be
yeah,
this. Uh,
yeah,
hmm,
that was very fun. That was really fun.
hmm.
Um, yeah, I didn't come really. I mean, the competition was not really for that. I didn't come really for the competition. I came especially to get back to conducting, to have some kind of uh, because I had this big competition coming in Bulgaria. So that was basically the reason but yeah, it was was nice to get the prize.
Yeah.
So hopefully next season I will come back to Athens with a project of my own to conduct this orchestra, the Athens Philharmonia,
Mhm.
and
So
yeah,
that was that sort of the reward or the prize that you would be
prize
able.
is a concert, the season concert. Yeah.
And this orchestra, tell me a little bit about them that you're going back to.
Uh, there are regular size orchestra. This time it was a little bit smaller because of all the pandemic
Oh yeah.
regulations, so they had to be a little bit smaller. And but it's called the Athens Philharmonia Orchestra. They are situated in the south, next to the of Athens, next to the sea. So it's called Alimos, the neighborhood. It's a nice, very nice place with all the beaches over there and everything. Um, and that's it. They do a lot of actually. They do. I'm noticing now they do a lot of Greek music, like Greek composers. They
Yeah.
put forward a lot of Greek composers in concerts, which is wonderful. And
Mm.
I really discover a lot of Greek composers through
Mm.
their Facebook page and concerts and videos. Yeah.
But uh, also during this time of the master class, was it something to adjust to these regulations or these restrictions? Because of course now your orchestra is not sitting. I believe they're not sitting at as they were or as they used to.
It's just everyone is sitting each on his in the strings, especially it's different because all of them have their own stand, so
Yeah.
they sit alone instead of two and two. But it's not it doesn't make a big difference when you conduct an orchestra. The winds were kind of divided with this windshield, with this like window or something. Um, Again, it's not I mean, it's a bit annoying for them, I suppose, to be in front of that, but it's not. It doesn't
Uh,
make a lot of difference when you need to conduct. You can still see them and have eye contact, and it's fine. Yeah.
so, and you say this was the first time
So
back?
this was the first thing, which was mainly, just to get back to conducting and train a little bit. Then I went to Denmark in a little city called Zonderborg. This was purely masterclass, just really a masterclass with Jorma Panula, who is a really famous teacher. He has his own academy in Finland. He was a teacher at the Sibelius Academy, and really is a main teacher for all the famous Finnish conductors you know today, Esa-Pekka Salonen and everyone. Klaus Makela also, and I mean, just you name it, he was involved in their teaching.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I went to his masterclass, which was not the first time I met him, but it was after a long time, like 2 years, I haven't seen him. He did a few masterclasses online, just a few teaching, but that's not the same. It's really not the same. So yeah, it was with a very good orchestra, the South Denmark Philharmonic Orchestra, and they are really wonderful orchestra, very very talented. And yeah, so that was 3-4 days to just do a lot of repertoire and get some feedback from him after 2 years I haven't seen him.
But now tell me, as somebody who doesn't know anything about conducting and less about music, what happens in a masterclass like that? So how many people, or how many conductors was there, for example?
We were 10 students. Yeah. So normally it's not always, but it's normally between 8 students until 15, 16. This time we were 10, which is considered rather small. In Athens, for example, we were 13. But I have been to smaller master classes as well for 8 people, 7 people. But 10 is kind of a nice number. Also, so basically you have every day you have a session with an orchestra of about, depends on the master class, but it's normally around the 30 minutes. And the teacher just reacts to what you do or doesn't, or tells you what he likes, what he doesn't like. If there's something that doesn't work, he will help you and get you the little help that he can give. In the case of Jorma Panula, he normally doesn't react to many things. It does sometimes tell you, just from the back, it tells you if there's something wrong, but normally just lets you conduct. And then afterwards, we watch the video with him of the session we've done the same day. And then we watch with him, and then he gives you, while watching the video, he gives you the little feedback. This is like that. This is a little bit too fast. Not so good. Hands smaller. Why are you not looking? Too much knees. Head is conduct. There's a lot of things that you are used to get from master classes. So there are many aspects of where is the musical line, or he tells you what he thinks about the music, articulation, etc., balance, etc. But normally in a master class, the teacher just reacts on the spot while you are doing the lesson. Normally it's like that. There are very few teachers who let you conduct for the whole 25 minutes or 30 minutes without so much interrupting, so that you can get the most out of it. Yeah.
And next, what? So this was just a masterclass that you did. This was not a.
There's a masterclass just to get his feedback, and to actually I am just to see him again, because I am going to his competition. He has his own competition, a very famous competition that's called the Panula competition, which is in Finland in November. So I'm going there in November. So I just wanted to see him also, and try also, because some of the repertoire in the competition was possible to do in the masterclass. So that was also a good opportunity to try a little bit, conduct this repertoire. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And when you do a competition like that, so you prepare, obviously not with the orchestra that you will be doing the competition with. So is that, do you have time to connect with this orchestra beforehand, or is just something that the first time you see them is the first time you'll be judged on your
Oh, yeah. So basically, you have no time to connect. I mean, you have to connect immediately, which is very difficult. Some are better at this, some are less good, and they are very. It takes time for them to get comfortable. Fortunately for me, I've done this quite a lot of time. So I mean, master classes is basically the same. Also in masterclass, also if you think about it, it is very similar to a competition, since you have, well, you have a little bit more time, but the first 5 minutes that you have with this orchestra is always a good thing to practice, to get comfortable with an orchestra immediately. Not even in the first 5 minutes, you have to get comfortable already from the very beginning. Not being shy, doing what you are used to do, conduct the way you conduct, talk the way you talk, etc., etc. Don't try to do something else or something like that. So in competitions, normally you don't have time. You have 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you have to be on the spot from the very beginning. There is no second chance.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult aspect of a competition. And sometimes, and basically the ones that pass next rounds are the ones that are able to be themselves from the very first moment. That give a good upbeat from the very first moment. You know, they get the orchestra to start together, etc., etc. But it's not the only thing. Of course, you have to be able to rehearse very well, to not give some weird musical instructions that are not in the score, or gives the players some technical, advice that don't make sense for instruments. Yeah. So and then be a good conductor, having a good technique also. Knowing the score, of course, is obvious. If you don't know the score well enough and you are all the time with your head in the score instead of making contact with the players, etc., it's also very noticeable by the jury.
And do you choose your own music for
No,
such?
no, it's always decided. So it's always, most of the time, it's decided by the competition. Sometimes you have the option to choose from a long list of pieces, but normally, at least you are limited to some works that you have to choose from, but you don't choose whatever you want. It's obviously, most competitions have their own agendas. Sometimes they want to perform some music by local composers. Most competitions do that. So they send you either they send you a score by some new composer, something that has never been performed before. So you don't have a recording, you don't have anything. You need to do this for the first time, and there is no point of, you can't try to find a recording or something. But sometimes also competitions like to put in the repertoire a mandatory piece that everybody has to do, which is a local composer, can be whatever from the country the competition is happening in. Yeah.
But as a composer, I'm just thinking now that so you must have music that you really prefer, or that you really have a good sense for and love for. I think every person has that. So what happens in a competition like that, if it's really something, I wouldn't say that you don't like, but that it's
It happens.
know what I mean? That it's not really, you don't feel this for this music.
Yeah, well, you do it anyway, but and you try to make the best out of it. But Of course, not always I will like the music that is on the competition, but normally it's it's good music, even if it seems weird at the beginning, especially with modern music that you have to do. But normally it's okay. You can make music with it, and it's not for a very long time. You have to make it for 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then you're over with it. So, but normally all the music in the competition is quite famous and really good.
Mm.
Yeah. Also, I'm supposing that, I mean, you have to suppose that competition wants to show off the good music that is happening in their country. So normally they will put a famous work, not something that is very obscure, uh, or they will put forward a famous composer that they trust, that they know that he will compose for the competition a good piece, and that is also beautiful, but also difficult for conductors, etc.
Mm.
Yeah.
And do you do a lot of competitions? Do you feel it necessary for you to do
Less,
that?
less now, but yeah, I do. I did feel the. I think it was a very good, for me at least, it was a very good teacher. These competitions. First of all, to learn repertoire that normally maybe you don't know or you have to learn. By this point, I see that repertoire is just repeating itself in competition sometimes. So sometimes I see a piece and I already know it. So it's actually thanks to competitions I've done in the past.
Mm.
But yeah, I've done, I would say, 10 to 15 competitions so far. But I haven't done. I don't think I've done that many. I mean, I know people are doing many more than me. So 10 to 15, and I am basically over the age of doing regular competitions that are. Most competitions of conductors have an age limit. So
I
you
see.
have after 35, basically today a little bit less, but there are many competitions that after 35 you can't really apply for them. So most of them are like that. There are some competitions that have no limit of age, but there are not so many.
But these
Um,
are they for, say, a young conductor? Is it a good idea to do a lot of competitions, you would say, or more master classes?
but I depends. I don't know. For anybody, what they love. I personally don't. I mean, I do master classes when I think that the teacher is of a good level, the orchestra will be of a good level, and I will get the most out of this masterclass. But I'm not going to masterclass just to do for having a video or for having something. I have enough videos. Most people, when they are young, they do masterclasses because they want a video of a concert and they need to get started for applications. So they want a video. So it's basically like a little circle that you have to go through. So you do your studies, and then you normally at the studies you don't get that many good videos because it's a student orchestra or because you don't have much time or there are not many concerts that you can do when you are a student. So you go to a master class and you get your videos for about a year or two, and then with these videos you go to a competition, and then maybe you get accepted. So if you don't get accepted, you try to get better videos, etc., etc. Um, but frankly, I prefer. I mean, competitions were kind of a way for me to get better at being from the very first minute because I needed some help to get out of my, like when I was young at least, to get out of my shell immediately and not being shy with an orchestra and just being on the spot at conducting. So now it's after a few of them, yeah, it got better, and that was mainly the. I mean, winning was always a possibility, but you can come only for winning.
Hmm.
If you come only for that, that's not really gonna happen. You come to a competition mainly because you want to get better at something. It can be at being quick, being a good conductor from the very first minute. Can be to learn how to rehearse under pressure, or to deal with your pressure and stress, because you have only 10 minutes and everybody is watching you, and you don't have time. So that's a very good teaching experience, to go to competitions and to watch others, to get to know other people, other conductors, to get connected with other colleagues, and knowing people from very different part of the world, and hearing what are they doing, and what is the different ways, of getting to conducting the got to, etc., etc. It's always very interesting to talk to other conductors, which you can do also in master classes, of course.
Oh yeah.
So if you are not a person that likes stress, and you are not able to really deal with the pressure, I wouldn't recommend to go to a competition. Maybe try first to do some master classes. But also a masterclass is also, as I said before, the first 5 minutes of a masterclass, the first time you meet the orchestra, is basically the same thing as a competition. So even though there is no pressure, of course, but this being on the spot from the very first minute, and being able to connect with your orchestra, and being yourself on the podium, etc., it's very similar to a competition.
Yeah, and this is like you say, you learn actually from other people as well, or you see and you connect with other people as well. That's sometimes also an important thing, even if if, like you say, if you don't win the competition, but you have built this connection.
Yeah, sometimes even not winning a competition can also doesn't mean that you lost. I know a lot of people. Sometimes in competitions, even if you don't get to the finals, sometimes the semi-finalists get noticed by someone from one of the juries, or it doesn't always mean that you lose. And even finalists, if you didn't get the first prize, or you got the third prize or second prize, sometimes they are more successful than the first prize, and they get to do more things than the first prize. So yeah, the competition is really, if you win a prize, it's very good, but you can't forget that it doesn't mean anything. A little prize is nice, and it's nice to write it in your resume, and it's good for pushing you forward for the next steps in the career. But there is no ending to a competition in this world. If you're not good enough after the competition, obviously because you get some engagements, etc., etc. So if you're not good enough, the orchestras will not like you. I mean, orchestras are very cruel. They can be very, very cruel. If they don't like you, then you don't get invited again. Doesn't matter if you won the most prestigious competition in the world. If you don't win it, like because you are really a good conductor, and not because of some protection or anything like that, then nobody cares. Doesn't matter that you won a competition. They want a good conductor to do a good concert.
Well, then it's a great compliment that the orchestra decided.
That's good, yes. Getting the orchestra prize is always a good, even if you don't get the first prize, but you get the orchestra prize, it's actually a very good thing. Yeah, it's very, very nice. And sometimes you get both, which is even better. The first prize and the orchestra prize, and you get sometimes also there's audience prize, which is also nice in competitions. Normally, actually, the audience always sing differently than the jury, which is very interesting.
So there are always audiences in these competitions.
Depends on the famous ones, yes. Famous, very, very big ones, Besançon, Malco, Mahler, Cadaqués, all these big competitions, Donatella Flick, etc. There are many very competition that there is always audience and ticket sale, etc., for the finals and semifinals and stuff like that, but not all of them. So depends on, especially now, I don't know how it works, if there is audience now in competitions, but yeah, there are some competitions with the audience, with an audience prize and with an orchestra prize and with some orchestra, or there are other orchestras that gives prizes, so they want to invite one of the finalists, and sometimes they decide differently than the first prize and second prize. It's very, very different from competition to competition.
But did you say there was another competition that you did?
So the main competition, the main competition I wanted to do this summer, and I felt that I was ready for it after many times that I thought I'm not ready yet, is the Blue Danube Opera competition for conductors. So it's an opera competition which is very, very rare in the competition world for conductors. There's not many. This is basically the oldest one and the one that exists for now 15 years, and that does just opera. So it's not anything else. There have been a few competitions that try to do this, but they have done maybe one edition or just stopped after a few times. This one actually has been it's the 8th edition, I think, already they've done. And the thing about it is that it's really difficult because you need to learn a lot of operas. For this competition, it was 4 full operas from beginning to end. So you have to know all of it. So we had Don Giovanni, Carmen, Pagliacci by Leoncavallo, and the hardest one was for the finals was Bartók's Bluebird Castle, which is modern, a bit difficult in Hungarian, which obviously I don't know. So I had to learn a little bit of Hungarian and to understand how to say stuff. The different, it's very difficult, the Hungarian pronunciation.
I heard that it's a difficult language,
And on top of that, the orchestration by Bartók is quite complicated. There are many, many different tempi. Tempo changes all the time. The time changing is every bar or every 2 bars. So you need to change your conducting 3, 2, 4. Every other bar, you have something to change. If it's not the tempo, it's a time change. So it's very difficult to remember to get it right. And apart from that, so you don't have really time to rehearse with the orchestra. So you basically need to get everything right on the first moment, without almost any mistake. So that's why it's a big competition. It's very challenging. And Don Giovanni and Carmen, of course, I know, even though I never conducted them. But Carmen, of course, as a French person, it's, I know it by heart since I'm very little. I heard it at home and I heard it again and again. I know the score by heart, the words, I know them. So Carmen was almost, I didn't need to learn for that, but you still need to learn it because there are very difficult recitatives that you need to learn how to do. So it was important. Don Giovanni, of course, it's not very difficult per se, but there is always a chance that you will get one of the sextet or the trio or the quartet or the finale of any act, which is kind of difficult, especially the first act, which is very, very long and very difficult.
But you had to do all the operas.
So not all the operas, of course, we don't have time for that, but they tell you in the morning of your turn what you are going to do. So basically we were doing some draw just so that it's fair. And we were taking numbers, and then they were telling you what the number means. So if you took number 5, it means you conduct Don Giovanni from there to there. And if you take number 9 in Carmen, then you conduct from here to here. And so we knew only in the morning of the competition. So basically only in the morning of the round what we will do. So basically, you had to know the whole opera, so that when they tell you what you're going to do, at least, yeah.
My goodness, but that sounds quite difficult. I mean,
That's very, yes, that's very stressful. That's very stressful. But
yeah,
I got mostly, no, I mean, everybody was, I mean, if you know the score, it's not really a big, it's okay. I mean, you can deal with it.
But
It
how
takes
long
5
did,
minutes to
yeah,
just focus and to get to your mind that, okay, I am going to do this. So
yeah.
you go over it and that's it. And you basically, you are focused with the part you need to do.
So you have 5 minutes to get,
No, we had each day, so there were 3 rounds.
yeah,
The first round, semifinals and finals, and each round was a little bit more minutes than the previous. So in the first round, we had 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, 15 minutes for Don Giovanni, 15 minutes for Carmen. And in each of them, they were looking for different aspects of conducting opera, because you need to, sometimes you need to rehearse, but sometimes you need to just run through without talking, just be as clear as possible, get everybody together and give the right cues to the singer, and no talking. So some of this, some of that. That was for the first round. Second round was mostly Pagliacci. A little bit of rehearsing only the orchestra, a little bit of only rehearsing orchestra and singers, some choir work as well, and a run through of a certain place in Pagliacci. So we had 60 minutes in total in the second round. And the final round was Bartok's Bluebird Castle, was mostly just to run through the whole opera in one take without much rehearsing. You had a little bit of time to rehearse the day before, but that's it.
but now here you work, I mean, you have the singers involved as well. So that's another, that's another step or another aspect that you have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Not just the orchestra. Yeah.
The most of it. No, the orchestra is not, you try to work with the orchestra, but the most important is what goes on stage. So yeah, it's very difficult. I can't really say how I'm doing this by now. It's just, I don't know, it's just instinct. And I just love opera a lot. I feel it's really good. I mean, it's became like the main thing I love in conducting, just to be in the pit, conduct singers, and doing operas.
Yeah, because I've been talking to a few, a conductor and a teacher who is singing teachers. They involved in this festival where this masterclass where they're teaching conducting and singing. They're teaching the conductors and the singers together. This is this masterclass together. And the more I didn't realize all these things about, how important it is for the conductor to and the singer to understand each other also, And I didn't realize that, before.
It's a very difficult connection, and it's a very different connection than with a normal soloist, instrumentalist, like piano, violin, or wind instrument. It's very different because, first of all, you need to know the text, which is extremely important. You need to know it by heart. You need to know after that when they breathe. Where do they take more time? If there is something technically that they need time for getting to the high note, for example, or maybe it's fast notes and they need more time, etc., etc. There's a lot of things in singing that is very different, and normally the magic happens when you make the singers think that they are in charge.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I mean, you let them think that they decide what is the tempo, where do they take time, etc., etc. But actually, it's you. So this is when the magic really happens. So the singers feel free to sing in any tempo they want. So and they feel free to push you, they feel free to take you back, but actually it's actually you are kind of showing them the way, and they don't know it, but they are doing what you want,
Mm.
which is basically when the real magic happens in opera.
Oh, I see.
So it's very important to make the singers very, very comfortable,
Mm.
to not be stressed because they have so much things to think about.
Yeah.
They need to act, they need to sing. Sometimes they need to sing in very awkward positions. Like sometimes they need to sing when they are on the ground. Sometimes they need to sing on a sofa. They need to sing while other people are taking them by the, I don't know, whatever they are acting. Doesn't matter. So they have a lot to think about, and they need to sing the high notes, and they need to sing in rhythm, and they need to look at you when you need. So it's a very stressful
Yeah.
thing to be an opera singer on stage. And but if you are a smart singer and you look at the conductor and you have a good connection and you know that you cannot just go for your whole aria without looking at the conductor, um, then yeah, it goes well. It goes well.
Well, this I find this so interesting. This dynamic between the conductors and the singers, and as I say, I learned so much on by these interviews that I don't know. So so it's wonderful to know all that. But now I want to ask you something on a lighter note. What do you do to prepare for a performance? Do you have a sort of a little ritual or something that you do?
I'm not superstitious. I'm not superstitious. I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't do something very special. There are some things that I don't do, like sometimes I don't eat before a performance.
Oh, okay.
I prefer not to eat. Let's say the performance is at 8 or something.
Yeah.
Then I have a good lunch, but I don't have a dinner before the performance, for example. There are things that I learned from experience just not to do. But no, I'm just preparing for a performance. You know, it can be very difficult for a conductor because you don't really. It's very difficult to sit in front of a score for hours, even if you play it. Sometimes you play and you play a few spots or you play some harmonies to get to know the score, etc. But it's very difficult to do this for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to prepare for a performance. Sometimes, of course, you don't have time, so you have maybe 1 or 2 days, so it's better. But if, for example, for this competition, I've been preparing for a year and a half almost, because it got postponed. It was supposed to be last year, and it got postponed to this year, of course. And so I've known this competition for a year and a half already. So I've been preparing this course for on and off a little bit. But you just learn them slowly, and but it can be very discouraging sometimes. I know many conductors can feel this because you just sit in front of the score, just preparing it without, at the moment at least, you don't see the results.
Oh, I see.
So you can sit in front of the score for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, preparing for a competition, and you imagine a lot of things and you learn it, but it can be at some point you're like, how much can I sit in front of this score and not conducting it, and there is so little action that happens at home before you get to the orchestra. I mean, it's not a very interesting job to just, if you just look at me while I am at home, looking at a score and marking stuff, it's not very interesting.
Okay.
If you sit next to me for 2 hours and I'm not going to do much except for this for 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Just looking at stuff and trying to think of the harmonies, writing stuff down. It's not very exciting. If you watch a violinist practicing or a pianist, it's very exciting to see, and you see what they are practicing and what they rehearse once more and once more. But seeing a conductor practicing at home, reading a score, that's not very exciting. And it can be very difficult for people to just I mean, especially now that you have all these, stuff that happens around you, the phone, the Facebook, etc. A lot of things, television. You can be tempted to do other things. Yeah. So it's very difficult sometimes to be focused on the score and just sit there, close everything out, and yeah, because it can be very boring sometimes to prepare a score.
But listen now, and also, do you have a specific, like an outfit? Do you have your suit or your frock, or do you
Of course, of course. I have my frock. I have my tail suit that I put for very special occasions, of course. I have a regular suit. I have a colorful suit, maybe for less, less formal concerts. Yeah, of course, everybody has his own suits, the suit that he prefers. I have the shirts that also I have different shirts for different occasions. Like I have a shirt for the papillon. Yeah, for this. I have shirts for regular tie. I have shirts that can be without ties. I have shirts that I use white shirts, black shirts, etc., etc. So yeah, I have different attires for different concerts.
And it's not restrictive for you when you move to have all this, like with the frock. Somebody said to me that
the frock is a little bit. The frock is a little bit annoying because it's a little bit restricting, but it's actually okay. I mean, I've made it for my own size, so it was made especially for me because in Israel they don't make this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I had to go to someone who done that. He took all my sizes, and we've done this once. And I told him, this is a little bit too. No, this is not so good. So we did some arrangements, and then yeah. So it was. Yeah, it's every conductor should have at least one frock just for. You never know when you will need it, and some orchestras actually the requests. I mean, some orchestras. I mean, the players wear a frock. So I mean, today there is a lot of different trends for conductors what to wear. So every conductor has his own, little way of wearing a suit of whatever he loves. Some conductors wear always the same thing. Yeah, so you can see, and some don't wear very, very, formal attires. Like some, they like to just wear a black shirt. Some of them is just a black shirt sometimes. Some like to wear only black, no black and white or stuff like that. Some like to wear this kind of Asian suit, that has no color. Some really don't like to wear a frock. It's just they don't like it. But I think for very special occasions, it can be very nice, and you can actually look very good in a frock. It's always nice to put one, but it's very rare. I don't put it for many things.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you have that specifically. But Gaddiel, thank you so much for talking to me again, and it's so interesting what you're telling me about these competitions.
It's been a very exciting month, I must say.
Yes. I must say, I'm
prizes
so, yeah, that's wonderful. Now, when I saw on Facebook, you were there, and I saw your post on the.
Yeah, so in Bulgaria, I won the third prize.
Yeah. And I actually know.
You can see the little prize is just behind me. This is it. This is a little.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'm not going to go, but you can see it here. This is the little sculpture they gave me. Yeah, I put it.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing. But it's very special that you're going back and that you're going to.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going back to Stara Zagora for sure, but we are still waiting for the engagements to be decided, dates, etc.
Oh, I see.
But for now, in the opera houses, but yeah, so that for now it seems, again, hopefully, because competitions always can change and stuff like that, but there should be 2 engagements in opera houses in Europe from the opera houses that are listed in the competition. And yeah, so waiting for the invitations to
that's
be
amazing.
fulfilled by the opera houses. Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. Really.
Thank you.
Great. But have a lovely weekend. And I'll keep me updated when something happens and that we can have a chat. So lovely to follow you and
definitely.
seeing what you
Yeah, very fun to talk again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Gaddiel.
All right.
See you. Bye.
Bye. See you.